Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on Ubuntu channel. It's another Tuesday, a great Tuesday indeed. And this is debate time on Ubuntu channel. In case you have just tuned in or it's your first time tuning in, this is an online platform that gets to give you a chance to come through, be part of the program and share with us your different sentiments. Remember that Ubuntu is all about all of us. I am because we are. On debate time, I am your host, Banda. And of course, this evening we have a great, exciting topic that we are debating on. This is the second edition since we introduced this particular program right here, which will be coming every Tuesdays at 21 hours. Apologies for bringing it a little bit late. Now, this is due to circumstances beyond our control. As you know, internet challenges are always here and there. Now, for those of you that are joining for the first time, make sure that you get to share and also like our post, like this broadcast, share it with your friends, like our Facebook page, follow our YouTube channel, and also like our Twitter channel right here. Now, today on the platform, I have with me Socialist Party member, that is Comrade Chrispin Chiinda. Mr. Chiinda, good evening and welcome to Debate Time on Ubuntu channel.
Thank you very much for hosting me. This is the first time I'm participating in this on this platform. I'm delighted and I'm happy to be here.
All right, and of course, among the discussants, we also have Mr. James Banda. Now, he appeared in the debut of our program as we were discussing the role of our youths being given major roles as far as leadership is concerned. Due to popular demand from you, our viewers, and of course everybody else, we had to bring him back so that at least we get to have or get to tap into his wisdom. Mr. Banda, good evening and welcome back to Debate Time.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to all the discussants, and good evening to the viewers out there, and hoping to have a very fruitful discussion this evening. Thank you.
All right, so also on the platform, we have a PF member or Patriotic Front member, that is Chanoda Ngwira, who will be joining us. And then also not forgetting, we have from the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND National Youth Chairperson, that is Gilbert Liswaniso, popularly known as General Mosquito, also joining us later on as we discuss how can Zambia develop. Now, we all know that the development of Zambia is one goal that each and every Zambian must have, despite their different backgrounds, despite which political party you are coming from, despite whichever organization that you are representing. This is what we want to discuss, or these are the issues that we want to talk about. How best can we develop Zambia? Now, by definition, development is the process of growth or change from one condition to another. In economics, development is change from traditional economy to one based on technology. Now, panelists, from this definition, I would like us to first take a hint on traditional economy, because we know that economics is one major part into the development of the country, and traditional economics is usually encounters on individual survival. Families and small communities often make their own food, clothing, housing, and household goods. Therefore, the economics of developing countries, which have largely traditional economies, often rely on agriculture. Zambia is a developing nation, and according to this definition, we are depending largely on agriculture. Is agriculture the way to go in developing Zambia? I'll start with you, Comrade Chiinda.
Thank you very much. And once again, thank you to you, the people that are watching us and following us on this platform. Yes, a socialist party, or indeed socialist government, we are looking at what is affecting our economy. Our economy is suffering on two fronts. Indeed, this is the economic front and also the social front. So when you look at economic development, we also want to look at the social development. The social development of it is that we need to look at the living standard of our people, improving how we are going to improve the living standard of our people. The living standard of our people, mainly in social sector, we are affected by, we need to ensure that our people have access to affordable foods, our people have decent shelter, our people have access to education. Actually, we seek to provide or to continue providing free education because this is a socialist policy. We also need to look at the clean water, providing clean water to our people. So in doing this, we know that we need to look at a viable economic production industries that we can establish, that can be in our hands, so that those production industries, we are able to produce goods that we can sell. And after raising that revenue, we can now improve our social sector. This is what we are looking at as the socialist, because socialist is standing at equity, is standing at justice, is also standing at peace. So we as Zambians, we need to be united in those lines. And we as Zambians, as socialists, we want to encourage our people to work very hard. Yeah.
Well, thank you so. Okay, thank you so much for that. Remember, just a kind notice to our panelists right here. Each panelist will be accorded 5 minutes to debate or to express their view on the motion that is always raised on the table. And you can also get to counter-react on what you feel your fellow discussant has failed to give out quickly. Now, Mr. Chiinda, I want us to come to this. In development, modern day development, or if we want to talk about development, we have been taught that traditional kind of economics is what is supposed to be harnessed. Obviously, that gets to lead into what we are calling agriculture, a country depending on agriculture produce, maybe a country depending on harnessing the means of production. What is the way to go if Zambia is supposed to develop?
Yeah, so as Socialist Party also, we want to look at how we are going to support our peasants. Our farmers need to produce enough food for themselves, and they need to be supported by government. When they produce enough food for themselves, the surplus can be sold so that they can raise some money for the next production. As a country, we also need to invest a lot in agriculture. We need to have each province a state farm or state farms that will produce enough food. In different provinces of our country, we have good soils for certain crops. Let's say in Western Province, we need cashew nuts plantation or production to be done from there. In Minirunga, we want a plantation for pineapples. In the Northern Province and Wapula, we want to do a production for cassava. In Central Province, we want tomato production and also mixed with maize. In Eastern Province, we were looking at the production of groundnuts, sunflower, to do the cooking oil, and also the sweet potatoes from there. I've seen on the market, there's a lot of watermelons now. So we need also that to be produced in mass. So production really is our food basket. we need to produce enough food. Muziva chengati muntu alina njala. Muntu ana njala angachite very vonse. So we don't want to keep our people with hunger. We want our people to be hardworking, and we want to encourage our people, particularly the peasant. We want our peasants to be supported so that they can produce enough food. Because when they have food in their homes, what is remaining is just supplementary from government. So we want to encourage such to be happening. So production will also grow our GDP as a country, because we will be able to have surplus to export to other countries so that we can raise more revenue. And that revenue that we are raising is supposed to go to our social sector, such as health, education, and also supporting our people that are doing business. So we want, as socialists, we really want to see to it that our GDP is raised, and we want to make sure that our production industries are also in our hands. This is what we want, because ours is focusing on local productions and finding local solutions to our challenges. We don't want to look elsewhere for our challenges. We know that the challenges that we are going through as a country, we have the solutions within here, and I know that we can manage to do that.
All right. Thank you so much. Due to network challenges, or due to network, we seem to be having challenges with Mr. Ngwira as well as Mr. Banda. Mr. Ngwira, good evening. Welcome to the program, if you can get. All right. Mr. Ngwira still seems to be having network problems right there. But Mr. Banda, let me come to you. Okay, go on as well. Mr. Ngwira, good evening. Okay, I bet.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, anyway, we are trying by all means with
Hello,
the technical
can you hear
team. Yes, now we can hear you.
Comrade Chiinda, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Good to see you. Looks like we have serious network issues.
Definitely, we seem to be having serious.
Can you hear me? I don't know.
Okay, can you hear me? Mr. Ngwira, can you get me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, great. Good to have you on the program, and thank you so much for coming back. All right, so we were talking about the definition of development, which is defined as the process of growth or change from one condition to another. Now, in economics, development is change from traditional economy to one based on technology. And a traditional economy usually counters on individual survival. Families and small communities often make their own food, clothing, housing, and household goods. Now, the economies of developing countries such as Zambia, which have largely traditional economies often rely on agriculture. The question is, or the motion on the ground to debate on is, does Zambia really need to depend on agriculture if it is to develop as a growing, developing nation? This is to you, Mr. Ngwira. Okay.
Was that my question?
Yes.
Okay, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me now clear? All right. Now, yes, much as we appreciate the agriculture component when it comes to...
Well, okay, sadly, Mr. Ngwira has left us, but however, we will make sure that our technical team gets to work on that or get to work on these internet issues that we are facing so that we can be able to have our participants back and obviously get to talk about or get to debate on different issues that we are discussing right here. Mr. Liswaniso, good evening and welcome to Debate Time on Ubuntu channel.
Good evening, moderator there. Also evening to my colleagues there. Thank you very much. Sorry for coming late. It's like I forgot about the program was ambushed Lance, but please forgive me.
Well, the fact that you are here, at least we are able to accept your apology. Now, let's get to the program. Since we are discussing the development of Zambia or how can Zambia develop, agriculture has been singled out, especially for developing nations, to be one of the key factors that would help in development of the country. I would like us to debate on this motion. Is agriculture really the key for a country to develop? Let's start with you, Mr. Banda, if you are still here with us. Mr. Banda, are you here? Mr. Ngwira, you can pick it up. Is agriculture the key for us to develop?
Yeah, so I was saying, much as I think of late, agriculture has proven, to be one of the major earner for our economy. Zambia is basically vulnerable. Depends on where we can survive from, which angle we can survive from. But suffice to say, I think agriculture, as things stand now, is proven, to be one of the major earners every day. People, would want to have at least a meal, in the morning, at lunch, as well as in the evening. And for, members, like my brother, I won't mention the name, they like eating a lot almost every time. So indeed, if as a country, we are to, remove our dependence on our copper or rather mining and concentrate much on issues to do with agriculture, the market out there is quite, lucrative. The market out there is quite promising. And the market out there is actually there. So I'll give an example of Congo. Congo is not a farming, nation. Congo is largely a mining nation. And because of that, they depend on neighboring countries when it comes to, foodstuff and the like. And so Zambia is, placed at a very, strategic, area, because it can supply to Congo, it can supply to Angola there, it can supply actually in Zimbabwe, though Zimbabwe is one of the greatest hubs when it comes to agricultural products. So, yes, I want to agree with you, Lance, that there are, issues that can help our economy is one of the major anchors when it comes to development. Because look, we've had issues of mining from time immemorial, even before we got independence. I don't think our minerals, have helped us so much. And these are things that are actually not renewable. Once we mine them, then they go and they go for good. But when it comes to agriculture, that's a renewable resource. You do maize today, you finish, the next season you can do maize again. So yes, in a nutshell, I would agree with you to say I would want to appeal to the UPND government. Comrade Liswaniso is here, their national chairperson, and obviously he interacts with President President Hakainde Hichilema. He interacts with the Minister of Agriculture and all that. Sorry, I'm used to my greatest president. Sorry. Yeah, so I think Comrade Liswaniso can take this message, to Bali and all other stakeholders in government, that I think let's invest much into agricultural issues. Thank you for now.
Mr. Ngwira. General Mosquito, let me come to you. Is agriculture the way forward if Zambia is to develop as a nation?
Thank you very much, Lance, and also my colleague Chanoda Ngwira, that I agree with him that agriculture today, as we stand as a nation, any country today that are talking about the agriculture itself, that can bring food on the table and also to create a lot of employment among especially us the young people. What we need is to ensure that the means of agriculture, and sometimes I think I'd shared with some people that the means of sports, which we are talking about empowering the young people, we're supposed to have a deliberate policy that this ministry, every ministry in our country, should have the component of youth empowerment. That is including now the Minister of Agriculture had been given something which will depend to the young people themselves, so that at the end of the day, most of us, we can go back to the land. Number one, the land of this country has the potential. Many times we have said that 70% of water body in this country is in the southern region. I think we have something we can share and even boast across Africa, that the land in this country is fertile to do agriculture, to do farming. So what we need now, it's young people ourselves now. How do we access opportunities from the government? That's why I've been proposing now that we should have a direct message, or the president to give direct through the cabinet PAs to say, can we have these things in this ministry, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, to say that what are the things do we need to say the young people can go back to the land, the people, the women, and everybody, so that we can now develop this country. Chanoda was talking about the issue to the DR Congo there, and we have seen our president going there to open a door there for the people, that whatever we have in this country can go and export to that country. So all we need for sure is to put our heads together, is to support the president himself, and his ministers, and also bring out issues, especially as Chanoda Ngwira, because now is in opposition. It is his role now to bring out issues which are supposed to help this government. The way he's criticizing, the way he's doing checks and balances, we want to hear more from him, because sometimes we may sleep ourselves in government, but from them now on the ground, because they are the one now speaking for the masses. They are talking for the voice of the voiceless. Now, when you're talking for the voiceless, now you got it done. What are the people talking in the rural area? Because the empowerment of a rural area for sure is to do with the empowerment. It's about agriculture itself. Okay, what are the needs do they need in rural areas that the government can implement now through the Ministry of Agriculture? So we need to use these offices now. Chanoda will not agree with anybody in the government, but through this platform, when they are coming in this platform, we want to hear more from them so that we can translate what they're talking about to the ministers so that we can develop this country. So for sure, Lance, I can tell you that to develop this country, we need to put a lot of money into agriculture. You can see that we can change it within 3, 4, 5 years. Because even voting out of any government, they're talking about the food. Out. People are complaining today. We are, all of us, we know as UPND, the things are not okay. Every day. Even business, you kudia. I'm sorry I'm using this language because all of us are able to understand a rural part that for us to survive, anybody to work extra hard, somebody to do any job, he has to eat. You can do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, you need to put food on the table. Meaning business to do with eating. It's a viable business. It's a business which is going, you can see even the restaurant wherever we are going, makeshift, wherever we go, it's about talking about food, it's about eating. So when we invest more into agriculture, meaning we're developing the country. When we put more resources in agriculture, young people are being
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gilbert Liswaniso there from the UPND. Now, let me also take this time, panelists, to get to remind you of the rules. So each participant will be given 5 minutes to debate a motion that is put across for you to at least express a view, a concern, and stress out that point which you need to stress out. Only 5 minutes is given to each participant. However, if you feel that you want to come through and also react to your fellow panelists' comment, please feel free to do so, as we are encouraging that. We are all here for the better development of Zambia, despite different political parties that each and everyone is coming from. Comrade Chiinda, I will allow you to come back, because when you were stressing your point, our two comrades were not here to get your point. Is agriculture the way to go if Zambia is to develop?
Yes, thank you once more. Agriculture, and when we talk about development, the major stake in development is agriculture. Firstly, I would want to define what development is. According to our understanding, is that development is the improvement to meet the people's needs at all levels. And in meeting the people's needs on all levels, we are looking at the social and economic development. And the social and economic development, mainly we are looking at the social sector. And the social sector, we are looking at the social needs. What are the social needs? We are looking at, is the food available for our people? Is the shelter, decent shelter available for our people? Is education, health available accessible to our people? So in trying to improve this, we have to look at economic development. And economic development simply means, or economy itself simply means an action in the production of goods and services. So in producing goods and services, mainly we are looking at the agriculture sector, because when our people are encouraged to produce more food, they will be able to produce food for themselves. The surplus can be sold to government or can be sold to whoever they want, because it's a free market, and they make surplus money. The money that we can make also as government is that we have to bring it back and invest in or improve our social sector, which is health and free education. So agriculture indeed is supposed to be encouraged by all governments that comes, and that as government also we need to invest a lot in agriculture. We need to have in all the provinces production industries. I talked about Western Province. We need to have cashew nuts production. In Northwestern Province, we need to have pineapple production. In Northern and Wapula, we need to have cassava production. In Eastern Province, we need to have groundnuts and sunflower production, so that we can also give value addition and start producing cooking oil from that side, from groundnuts and also sunflower. We also need to encourage the production of maize, because maize is our staple food. In Central Province, we can also do some tomatoes. So we just need to encourage agriculture in all areas, in all the provinces of this country. We need to encourage to do that. Ours as socialists, actually, we are looking at how do we support the peasant. We need our peasant farmers to be supported fully so that they can produce enough food. Just like my brother has said, Comrade Liswaniso, muntu ana njala sunga mu angachite viri vonse muntu amene ana njala yeah ungampase lero but nanga mairo njala akamvera mairo futi zachita. So you need to look at the root cause. You need to look at how do we sort out this problem. And as a country, we are a developing country. I agree with my comrade Ngwira. It's a developing country. And as a developing country, we need to look at men, we need to look at our people and encourage hard work amongst our people, particularly the peasants. And also, we also need to look at how do we encourage people that are doing business so that we have these economic activities everywhere. And the foods must be, the goods and services must be available on the market so that from the surplus money they are making, we need to access many other things that we need on the market. Actually, majority, I can say majority of the things that we need in our lives, they are all coming from the soil, all coming from agriculture. Most of the things that we need, because even if we talk about the soap that we use, it's also coming from the soil through agriculture. I've seen our women that are making soap through moringa tree. Moringa tree has to be grown. We've seen the cooking oil. Cooking oil is coming from groundnuts, sunflower, coming from agriculture. So agriculture is the engine of the economy, and agriculture is actually everything, because we need to eat. We eat every day. So really, agriculture is something that we need to look at, and how we can make sure that we do that. I want to tell my brother also, Comrade Ngwira, that you see we cannot give up on copper. We are known as a copper producing country, and we have also named our copper bullets, our boys as copper bullets, and all this.
Chiinda, your time is up. Thank you so much.
Maybe, since I've been mentioned, I can react to what comment Chiinda just.
Yes. I haven't finished my point.
Remember,
let me finish my point so that my brother can.
You only have 5 minutes.
Can I finish so that? Okay. All right. I will continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, Comrade Lance, is that I didn't say that we should basically get rid of mining. No, definitely we can't, because I think we have the natural resources that are quite available. But what I was saying is that I think we must not, consider mining to be the main earner of our economy. Instead, I think we need to continue from where the Patriotic Front government, ended, where they empowered the farmers through FISIP and many other deliberate, programs under Minister of Livestock and all that. So basically, we can't stop the mining activities. But what I was saying is that we understand that the mining activities, that's a non-renewable resource. But when it comes to agriculture, we are assured of, doing the same thing even the following season. So I wanted to clear that with my comrade Chiinda, to say, I did not say we should literally stop. We have to continue with.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll come to that motion, the issue of raw materials. That is part of our agenda, because in developing a nation, there is really much that is needed. But still on agriculture, more than 55 years of Zambia since independence, we have been talking about agriculture as a major sector to develop the country. Where are we falling as a country to develop, using this agriculture? History has it that all these developed countries have used agrarian economies. So now, where is the problem? We have been using agriculture, but we are still at the same place. We are still stagnant. We have talked enough about agriculture as a driver for economic growth. Why are we failing to implement the good policies of agriculture? So if really agriculture is a key component in developing the nation, why do we only talk and we fail to implement? I'll start with you, Mr. Ngwira, because you are the immediate past government.
I'll be honest with you. It's not that we have failed per se. When you look at the PF manifesto, the way it was structured when it comes to issues of agriculture, I think first of all we wanted to, make that peasant farmer to become a commercial farmer in a way. How did we, plan to do that? I think we introduced a FISIP, like I said. We needed to empower, that farmer in Chasefu, that farmer in Munali, that farmer in Chongwe, that farmer in, Chifunauli and all that, by, giving them a base. How do we give them a base? Subsidizing, agriculture inputs, where a farmer only pays about 400 kwacha and gets, maybe 2 bags of fertilizer or more, or through cooperatives and all that. So that stage, once it passes, it means we have now basically empowered and made, a farmer, a peasant farmer, realize the profits, or rather the gains that are in the agricultural sector. And our plan was to actually, continue by making sure that as a nation, either through ZNS, through Zambia Army, or through the Ministry of Agriculture itself, change certain policies where as government, we own, certain enterprises like farms at commercial level. Because if as a country, we have, for instance, a farm in Nyimba, where Comrade James, comes from, there's a lot of land there. We have maybe another farm in Chasefu, where I come from. We have another land, maybe pieces of land, from all the constituencies as government. One, that will create employment for the Zambian people. Then secondly, it will also improve when it comes to, a reservoir of good food. We will not run out of maize or agricultural products, thereby making the country to be stable in terms of, dealing with the hunger situations in the country. And yes, like I said, all these initiatives, can be adopted by the UPND government. And obviously, after their 5 years is done in 2026, as PF, working together with the other politicians, of course, the Socialist Party, as they wait to come and form government in 2040 something, we are able, to, galvanize these ideas and have the Zambian people benefit. It is our desire as PF that once we come back to government again in 2026, which is an obvious case since this UPND has failed, and also Comrade member is coming on well, but it needs to be trained in a way. I think they are still growing as a party. We need to give them the next 15 years or so for them to, come up with better issues. So we are going to continue with those good policies to see to it that the Zambian people benefit, to see to it that there's no, much of a peasant farmer. Each farmer is definitely going to be a commercial farmer in a way. How do we also help, this sector to grow? By, talking to, the Congo government, just like the president, the current president, though I did not, see much of, emphasis on agriculture. He just talked much about minerals and all that, and also the idea of exchanging cows and all that. That was what took center stage. But as PF, we're in the process of wanting to engage our colleagues from Angola, our colleagues from, Congo, and also the neighboring nations. What is it that they're lacking in their country? And what is it that we have in this country in terms of agriculture products that we can provide and also, give them in exchange with money? And that also definitely would, the end result would be also strengthening of our forex and all that. So indeed, Comrade Lance, I want to tell you that Zambia is poised for, greatness. Zambia can actually pay debt through agriculture, much as we are also, concentrating on, mining and all that. But I can assure you that, like Comrade Chiinda said, we are a country that can sustain itself through agriculture. for as long as we have got serious people to govern this nation, not people that keep on just talking about Socialist Party, people that just keep on talking about PF. No, we need a government, we need leaders that can, open up the minds of agriculture, activities, in the people out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ngwira. Comrade Chiinda, let me come to you. We have spoken so much about agriculture. 55 years since independence, Zambia continues being a developing nation, and we say agriculture is an integral component of developing Zambia. Why are we still stagnant when we know that agriculture is a right component? And we have seen regimes come and go. We still talk agriculture. Nothing seems to be working.
Yeah, I think for me, I need to also commend former President Edgar Lungu for the policies that he left in place. I know that there was a project of cashew nuts production in Western Province that was started. I know that there was also this pineapple production that was started. I know that there was also cassava production that was started. The only problem I've seen in this country is that whenever there's a new government that comes in, they want to start things all over. They don't want to continue what their predecessor has left. They don't want to do. There's no continuity amongst ourselves. But above all, before politics, we're all Zambians, and we want to see to it that Zambia develops. We want to see that our GDP grows. We want to see to it that we need to be leaving a legacy, and we need to continue good things. We need to continue them. But I think our politics has also contributed a lot in trying to be stagnant or to be at the same level for many years now. But I think there's a bright future. I don't want to politic, but a Socialist Party, we are focused on looking at how are we going to promote agriculture by supporting our peasants. How are we going to improve our agriculture by making sure that we have government farms in all the provinces. We need to have government farms in all the provinces. We need to seek production industries in all the provinces. We want to talk about also the marijuana, that is agriculture. Medicinal marijuana is something that even the policies there, it went through parliament, everything is on advanced stage. That one, we can earn foreign exchange from it when we put our efforts to growing marijuana for export. And the money that we realize from there can also help our people, our peasants, to grow more crops. And also, we also need to encourage our people not just to grow maize, but also to grow different crops such as soybeans, groundnuts, sweet potatoes, and many other things. We need to encourage our people to do that, because where we are coming from, tenzoziwa che milisi kuti mukankhala naka farm ni kulima che milisi chabe, then milisi all the time is milisi. We know it's our staple food, but I think we have done a lot of maize. But of course, we need to maintain certain farms for maize, but we also need to do soybeans and these other crops. So we need to encourage that. And also, as a party, as Socialist Party and any other party, I think what we need to do, or what we need to look at, is that let us have this continuity mentality that we should have. Let's not discard everything that our friends started now because you don't want to be affiliated to that. Then you want to do away with it. I think continuity must be there for the good things. I'll tell you, if this government continues with cashew nuts production in Western Province, I think we can also create jobs from there. If we continue with cassava production in Northern Province, we can create jobs from there. if you continue the plantation of pineapples in Northwestern Province, we can also create more jobs from that side. Then we just need to do value addition. What we don't want or what we don't like in socialist policies is that anything that we see where it is economically viable, we want to bring in an investor. We need to do away with such things. We need to own our own production as Zambians. When we own our own production as Zambians, we will be able to raise enough revenue for our country. We'll be able to have a lot. When we have something in Eastern Province, a production in Eastern Province, the money that we realize from there, we'll be able to invest in our social sector. We'll be able to improve our social sector. We'll be able to support the free education. At the moment, we have a very good policy of free education, which is very good because education is supposed to be accessible to everyone, regardless in society. And it must be sustainable. It must be supported. We cannot depend on borrowing. We cannot depend on money that is coming from IMF or any other donor that is giving to us. We are supposed to raise our own resources to support the education sector. Our health needs to be supported from agriculture, from what we are growing from agriculture. Health, we are talking about marijuana production. That is agriculture as well. We are supposed, the money that we are raising from that production, we're supposed to support our health sector. So agriculture is everything. We just need to make sure that the government that is there in place, we invest a lot in agriculture. We invest a lot of our people, and we need to avoid bringing up investors all the time. We need to own our own our production. When we own our own production, I'm telling you, Nancy, that we're going to raise enough revenue from this sector and be able to improve our social sector in the where it is. So social sector, there's a lot because all of us, we depend on it. We depend on our social sector. We need decent houses for our people. We need access to food. Ngati talima che maningi vakudya vonse vizankhala food per market vizachipa no cheaper. But if we don't invest in our agriculture, we cannot start importing foods from other countries. Some of us have gone to these other countries. So madiana nsima and then ukumbwa no kumbwa upeza ti nkhala 1 week. So olo uiganiza nsima is because of the Zambian in us. But there's a variable variety of food that you can eat. So I'm also looking forward for a day where I have variety of foods that I can eat, so that but at the moment we know shima is our staple food, and all of us tifuna check and sima so that tajao can sima de singa pite no jao can sima. But in agriculture, when we grow enough crops, we'll be able to have a variety. We can choose what we want. So we need the government that will be responsible in that. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Your time is up. Hopefully, Mr. Banda, you are back. And if you are, good to have you back. But I'm going to start you up from another level of the debate, since we have already passed the other part. Now, to our viewers that are watching us, remember that this is debate time on Ubuntu channel. This is the second edition. We have shared the link with you on the comments box. You can be able to come through, join us in the studios, ask your questions, share a view, share your sentiments, or share a comment on what we have discussed so far. Remember that you only have 90 seconds for you to react to everything that has been talked about right here on this platform. Better still, you can send us a message and we'll be glad to read that message from you. Now, as we are waiting for people to join us in the studio, I want to start with you, Mr. Banda, if you are still here. Developing countries mostly rely on raw materials, which can be traded to developed countries for finished goods. Now, these raw materials include oil, copper, coal, timber, etc., etc. we have talked about agriculture. Does Zambia need to diversify from agriculture going into the dependence of raw materials if we are to see it develop and move from the tag of developing nation? Over to you, Mr. Banda.
Well, thank you very much. And sorry for joining in a bit late. The dependence on raw materials and the issue of diversification from agriculture to exporting raw materials is one and the same thing, if you ask me. The end of the day is something that is can be tagged as raw materials. Farming sector to diversify is to go into value addition, for example. So my fellow discussant, Mr. Chiinda, spoke about the pineapples and the other cash crops that he had spoken about. Why can't we go into production of juices, for example, step it up a little bit, a notch a bit, where we can produce juice, we can produce fine products or value addition to these products, which will be branded and which will fetch on a much higher value to actually benefit our farmers. Now, talking about the raw materials, steel, timber, and raw cobalt and raw copper, raw diamonds, emeralds, for example, we don't have diamonds, and raw gold. Why not diversify from that? Because we've been doing that for a long time. How long have we had mines in this particular country, and the development aspect of it and the benefit from these raw materials that are being exported out there to the Western world are not seen up to now? 50 years down the line, we are still exporting raw materials. We need to move away from the thought of exporting raw materials and move into a thought or an attitude of adding value to every raw material that we have. Okay. To do certain things like to produce gold chains and the like, but if we start and move and invest into that direction, and then we are going to see tangible development and tangible benefits for our people from their raw materials. The next thing that I must say here and emphasize is that the agriculture has had a lot of investment in the past 50 years by different governments, from the fishing